right, y'all. Yet again, another episode for the NBA postseason. I got my brother E-Man from the Mr. Vincent podcast. Thank you for joining me again, bro. But of course, we'll get through it. This is an episode about pretty much how the first round of the playoffs went. Currently, we have the Knicks playing the 76ers, so a little bit of a spoiler alert for whoever has been living under a rock. I anticipate this to be a pretty good series, but right now, as we can see it, the Knicks are up by 11. So we'll see how that goes. But how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. Some good hoops we got in the first round and everything. I didn't really get to enjoy the first round too much. I was mad sick. I was like pretty much in bed like all last week. So I didn't get to really like tap in like I should with the hoops and everything. But when I watched, especially the weekend, it was kind of lit. Well, at least one of the games were. No, you good? I've been good, man. Just living life and everything. Can't complain too much. How's it going with you? No, I was mad sick. Like I caught out of work back-to-back days. I really caught out of work, and I work from home, so that's how sick I was. So I didn't really watch all the games last week and shit like I would like to. But from what I seen, it was kind of lit, especially this weekend and everything. A lot of game sevens. It's always a good thing.
You know what I'm saying? We already know the results. Knicks and the Sixers are playing now, who lived under a rock, because I'm doing out of the two conferences and all that. So for those who, again, the rock, the Lakers 1-6 against the Houston Rockets. Even though the Houston Rockets didn't have KD, that's no excuse. This is the playoffs. Because the Lakers didn't have their two top scorers for majority of that series. OKC swept the Suns. It was kind of a low-key prediction for the two of us, even though we had Golden State making its final we both chose Golden State to be in that position. We also chose them to get gentlemen's sweep at the very least. Suns got swept. San Antonio ended it in 5 against the Portland Trailblazers. And then last but not least, set probable playoffs besides the Celtics losing Sixers. Minnesota Timberwolves, the Denver Nuggets, without Ant-Man, without who tore his Achilles game 4, I believe, or game 4. So that was the Western Conference. Whereas the Eastern Conference, the only team that finished early was the Knicks. They beat the Hawks in 6. Bad in an embarrassing fashion. At one point, they were down 60, or better yet, they were down by 50 at half. I think it was 72-22 when they were embarrassing ending. But the other 3 series, 2 of them had 2 teams come back from a 3-1 deficit, beating the Celtics in 7. And then also such a game for them. That game 6 was probably the most another embarrassing ending to a game. The Orlando Magic I think they scored like 11 points in the second half. Some ridiculous amount of low scoring contribution from them. 3-1 lead to the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons and the Cavs. And Toronto went all the way to the distance, even though Toronto had some missing bodies. They still battled and they found their way series, a full 7-game series with they lost to the Cavaliers. So we're going to have the Cavs facing Detroit tomorrow night. The Lakers are facing with a long rest, which was big for LeBron and the Lakers. The Lakers are going to be playing the OKC Thunder. And of course, like I mentioned, we have Philly playing this in New York right now, game 1. And later on tonight, we're going to have the Timberwolves playing San Antonio. Out of the 2 we got both conferences settled around. Pick is that you are impressed you the most from each conference that you were, if you had the opportunity to kind of watch it or read it yourself, that you found it.
I mean, for the East, probably gonna hurt you, but I thought the Sixers were impressive for beating the Boston Celtics down 3-1, heavy underdogs. I had the Celtics going to the finals in the Eastern Conference, so that's kind of crazy.
So did I.
Yeah. So the fact that they on a deep team, they probably go about 6-7 deep. Boston got way more weapons. The fact that Embiid was kind of thrown in there, and that's the ultimate wrinkle, obviously. I think he came back in game 4, and when they got blitzed by, I think, 32 that game, I'm like, damn, maybe Embiid should be playing. But then, ever since that game, 5, 6, and 7, he's kind of It was the big mismatch for the Celtics, even though because they don't got like the defenders like they'd have a Horford, even Porzingis, or even got a stretch five that can force Embiid out to guard at the 3-point line and leave the paint open for anybody else to attack and everything. I know that, but still, I think it's impressive. Sucks that Tatum didn't play too. But that was a Boston team that was second in the East for the majority of the season. Without Tatum, they had the pieces that got into that position. So, and they were in a hostile environment and were able to hold the Celtics. They made a rally late into the game. So I was like, that was the most impressive series in the East for me. And in the West, I gotta go with Minnesota beating the Nuggets yet again. I don't know if they were crazy. Yeah, I think they were pretty heavily underdogs in that series. They lost their three rotational guards at one point during the series in DiVincenzo, Ant-Man, and Sumu. And still in that game six, they were able to find a way. Rudy Gobert probably played the best defense I've ever seen on Nikola Jokic. Really I want to say shut him down, but he made him very, very uncomfortable and took him out of his rhythm and everything. Jaden McDaniels was talking trash. He backed it up. They couldn't guard him. They couldn't guard him on the perimeter or even at the basket. So I think that was very impressive that Wolves team was able to be victorious down that amount of rotational players and everything, and they let people know that they're for real because they made believers in me after that series. So I think those were the two series that I was like most impressed with.
Boston team, you shouldn't as and losing to play-in teams and shit like that. So it's a disappointment to watch them lose and to don't think my criticism and me being critical or just not on some green team and shit. I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. That's not how being my version of being a sports fan is different than yours version. So that I'm gonna get that out the way. But my most impressive series in the Eastern Conference was the Detroit comeback from 3-1. Even when they were down 2-1 and then eventually 3-1, I didn't Orlando would win the series. Now, just Franz being out did not help them much for Orlando because he was guarding Cunningham in those clutch moments and all stuff. Detroit was struggling with ball. Cunningham had to do a lot of hero ball most of that. But that's what he gets paid for. He's an all NBA player. He didn't complain. You hear nothing from him about dogging teammates or making excuses. They just got the job done. So shout out to JB Bickerstaff, like getting those men up in for that series to end it and prove that you're eating. The match. And also, you can say this not your typical play-in 7 and 8 seed. They could have easily been a fifth or sixth East because the East is just not that impressive to it. You feel me? But otherwise, Eastern Conference, I'm gonna agree with you on that as well. The Minnesota series with the fact that DiVincenzo with that Achilles tear, and then AO didn't know AO was gonna miss that last clinching game, but he did, and then no Ant for at least 2 of those games. Um, although Denver didn't have Gordon, I don't think that's much excuse for a 3 seed with the prohibited MVP of the league, the reigning MVP of the league, not to clinch that series, and then letting Jaden McDaniels' words be law. Like he really taught it, and he really said that. Like, yo, they don't play no defense. All 5 of them, so we gonna bust them. You feel me? Pause. You feel me? Like they business, and that's business should be taken care of. You feel me? But that series, with that being said, I know you didn't bring up your Lakers. How did you feel about the series went? Were you shocked about how he took care of business where it almost was a sweep? Or like, do you think it was just because, KD, or that's just because it's a young Rockets team? I don't know. How did you feel about that series?
Katie wasn't there. I think it was a foregone conclusion they were going to win. I didn't think that they would. I thought it would be a lot tougher. Even if KD played, I thought they would have won based on everybody. Based on like, I knew Austin Reeves might come back. Luka probably wasn't going to be there, but with LeBron, I felt like they would have beat them. So I'm not really high on the Rockets, anyways. They struggled all season, having any camaraderie and everything. Not having a point guard, not adjusting that when they had the whole season to adjust that. It was like malpractice over there in Houston. So I knew they were going to struggle against us. So I wasn't too impressed with their victory. Probably could say you were impressed with LeBron James. I would say just because at this stage of his career in the year 23, age 41, kind of like just whenever he's caught upon to do like heroic things, he gets it done and everything, being down 2 of your top 3 scores. This season, you've like really like tried to like play like a role to help accommodate like the Lakers and everything, where being like the ultimate like Swiss Army knife, and then it's went back to his old ways out of necessity because players are down, bodies are down, and everything. So that was impressive in itself. But beating the Rockets, I wasn't too impressed.
I mean, I was and led the squad. Like first 3 games before Austin got there. That is impressive, man. Like whether they had KD or not, that's the Rockets. Let's be honest, E man. On paper, that's still a better team than that team that went out there and won games. On
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's not a team that's a bunch of KD more than they compliment in Goon. But yeah, with all that
Or
being
they
said,
might move on from KD. I know the whole burner thing kind of caused some tension in the locker room. So who knows?
oh yeah, I mean, and you know what's crazy, bro? The Thunder trio have been tossed around to side. It's crazy. Like, how do you? If you look at
All and all former league MVPs. That's crazy.
like, go to Basketball Reference, bro, and look at the amount of team guy Harden, KD to no playoffs with any team. He actually is not. He's not really a starter no more, to be honest with you. KD and Harden, they've been on mad teams in the last like 5 years, let alone most of their career. 5 years, them two at least have been on 3 or 4 teams, which is crazy. Um, so I don't. It'll be good. It'll be a shame for the Rockets to give up on that KD experiment for the sake of they gave good young asset in Jalen Green, some picks, and progressing player.
And Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, progressing player in Dylan Brooks. Like it'll be a shame if they do that and rely on the fact that play they need to build a team around Sengun. I wouldn't build a team around Sengun. Um
Neither.
Now that we're round, I'm not gonna go into if Missoula was not didn't just get that contract extension, he out of here. That starting five was egregious on a game 7. That was as soon as I saw that, and then and that's what upsets me sometimes about fellow Celtics fans. Like they believe that there's some Celtic magic every time he does something. It's just by chance fortunate that he has players that really over their expectation. That Linsanity reverse monster powers happy players like Shireman and Nemus, Kayvon Hopper Jr., you name it. But the fact that you start a Luca Garza, who probably is third center in teams, Ron Harper Jr. in any other be right as the 14th man. Man, with all due respect, the kid definitely played well this year, but he's not. But he starts. He's better off being a complement piece with a starting lineup that has professional, still being a senior player in the league. How dare you do that? And how dare news on the Jason Tatum injury be so short? And Jalen Brown, which I don't know if I want to get into his shenanigans with like player didn't even know what was going down. He thought that lineup was going to be game started, but I don't really want to go into too much of a rant. It's been a frustrating like couple days. I remember when I saw that lineup, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna shout, bro!" Like, and I don't. I try to, to the Celtics and any sports team, like, just because it's like I've been there, done that. I've crashed out too many times while teams play. Like, but oh man, it's very frustrating, and the Boston faithful, the Philadelphia deserve better for that game. Yet again, here's an elimination game that the Celtics lost JT, but they lost in an embarrassing fashion. So clearly, I'm not saying there's going to be a change coming for the coaching staff or the coach itself or the roster. I mean, there's going to be some additions being made because I think they need to consider another run at this. But that window is closing, we believe. Teams like the Knicks, Sixers, they've re-upped there now, but for the future as well. The Cavs might, if they don't get too far, the Cavs, they might want to add some guys. Like, Eastern Conference is not going to be as weak as it is now. It's going to get even better.
and the Pacers are going to be back in the mix with Halliburton next season. They're probably going to get a top 4 pick too.
And then we're talking about the Wizards with got Trey and a bunch of young guys and rumors about AD potentially getting. That's not to say that they won't build around Trey Young and what he wants. Miami is still a threat if they stay healthy in the season. Atlanta was just a young team. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Toronto put up. That was a better fight than what the Celtics put up, and they had 6 stars. You know what I'm saying, I don't want to hear the crying about, oh, JT missed a game or we're not there. We have our lineup was not, our roster, this, that, and third. You were the 2 seed, star players and super players as well, and they exceeded expectations. Timberwolves, for example, went game for out the Portland Trailblazers in that same game that they didn't have them. Like, there's no excuse. Your team is deal with adversity. You as the coach have to get them up and ready for that situation. So that's the end of rant about the Celtics. I don't want to talk more. One day I'll
How do
probably
you feel? Are you in the camp that Missoula's like style of play needs to change because too many threes, live and dying by the three, came back to like the bite us in the butt? Or do you feel like you just trust the analytics? So
the thing is,
yeah.
statistics is a thing, right? But analytics coming from above you is the thing I don't like. I don't need my GM or GM's assistant or whoever, and they're paying extra to punch numbers to tell me how and who I have to play the game. Or, oh, the three is what's the most important for me. I'm not in that camp, and I'm not in the camp of Missoula guy to team with that idea. I'm not a big nerd guy. I enjoy basketball, bro. I enjoy basketball. I like to watch a team play the game. Not what obviously when the Suns did it back in the day, it was impressive because that's and we were like, shit worked. But Houston did it back in the day. That we thought it was cool in the sense because James Harden led the way. He was MVP. Like, they were like winning it, but they didn't win. The Celtics changed that whole narrative, and I'm not putting a category because
I'm gonna say did it though.
I was Clay and
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I buy the three that often as much as other of those other teams did.
Yeah.
The Celtics by
Okay.
chance. You feel me? Yeah, the
Gotcha.
Celtics by chance seed with that, but they had a lot of good things go away down that path. They needed to get by those first two rounds they went by. They dodged Jimmy Butler. They dodged Donovan Mitchell in the last 2 games of that series, and then Halliburton the series in the Eastern Conference Final. It's not to say, I wouldn't say that they were completely lucky. You have to play who's in front of you, but you were fortunate. Usually the road gets the further you go in, but all their roster was that good, so it worked for Missoula, right? But that play does not get championships. That play does not do 3 out of 4. That play does not make you a dynastic franchise. Lightning in the bottle, sprint dominance. You feel me? It just doesn't work. But also the NBA is at the point where it's evolving. The three ball is, and some players do shoot it at a high volume and a high clip. But the point ball, and you've seen it with Philly, Embiid killed them. Embiid can shoot a three. He didn't want to shoot the three. He was like, he realized my game is in the box. My game is on that block. Let me do my thing. Come on, like it's a simple. It's a basketball, bro. That at the end of the day, keep his job. He needs to coach basketball, not coach the analytics numbers and the margins and talking about, oh, there's as low of a moment of my life as winning the championship. Get the hell out of here, man. I ain't trying to hear none of that crap. Like, yo, that shit, those little clips by him and Jaylen Brown can irk the most casual fans out there. So, if it bothers me, I know it bothers a Pink fan out there. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the game. I'm not a fan of how he constructs his team. Offense in the sense of like you could plug anybody in and they ball up because he just trusts you to chuck up threes or whatever. And if it goes in, you look like a mastermind. If it don't, that's your ass. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that kind of play, bro. Because I look as if I was the man, there would be no way in hell Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't average 50, 55 points together. You feel me? Like they average 55 points a game. They should be.
Yeah.
It's no excuse. But yeah, now that we
I agree.
I know you've been peeping the game. The Knicks are up by 20. In this next series, we have the Knicks Sixers. I want to go over see what our predictions look like for these series right here. We got Knicks, Sixers,
Yeah.
Cavs, Detroit Eastern Conference Finals, and we have your Lakers versus OKC and versus Minnesota. Who y'all got in who you got in both series, and who's the key to both series to that gives you that result?
Man, I got a Wolves Spurs. I got the Spurs in 6. I think the key is Victor Wembanyama. Can he still be as impactful as he was in the previous series? Now dealing with his fellow Frenchman and Rudy Gobert, who has the size and he has more mass than Wemby. So if they're allowed to be physical, how is Wemby gonna do throughout the course of a 7-game series potentially with Gobert, who was obviously motivated because he feels he got slighted that he wasn't a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year and everything. So I think Wemby's gonna be the key in that series. Can he absorb the physicality, play through contact and everything, and just be impactful like he has been on the defensive end? I think that will go a long way. And for the other series, I mean, I'm a Lakers fan, but I mean, they'd be lucky to win a game in this series. If they can win 5 games, that'd be. I mean, if they can win 1 game, that series goes 5, that would be a miracle. Because I think OKC is just that much better. I mean, I watched these guys. Yeah. So I ran into Don on Friday. I was telling him like, dog, we're gonna lose next round. Like, yeah, it's crazy though. Why don't you have faith in your team, dog? They got swept this year, but they lost by average of 30 points. Why would I? I'm not a fool. Like I know basketball. They have no chance of winning this series. Trust me. You said somebody who can be most impactful player in that series. I mean, I won't go with Shea because that's the obvious one. For the OKC, I'd probably say AJ Mitchell is going to be getting all those heavy minutes that J-Dub would get since J-Dub's still dealing with the hamstring injury. So can he still be that reliable second option, the second ball handler that they have in OKC? So I say that. But yeah, that's all I got. I got the Thunder in 5, and I got the Spurs in 6.
He'll try to prove. He manipulates the game in his way, like every great player has. Jordan, my favorite players growing up they were in the free throw line more than back in the day. But yet people are so fixated on the tape, and they're looking at the little things because their favorite player in the calls. And it's like, bro, are you watching basketball? Or you hope it to be some type of 2K playback? Like this is how it goes. You gotta take advantage of shit. Like every sport, great players take advantage of the rules. If you don't know the rules, and you don't understand how you don't know how you don't have you don't have a unique way of your game. You feel me? And it's not always gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Shea because they need him. Even though I don't think J-Dub is ultimately that important for this particular series, but I think Shea's aura,
He's not.
Shea's like importance to the game and both ends is needed for his teammates because the way their continuity works is it starts with him. So rarely do we ever see him have a bad game. I'm pretty sure the Lakers are gonna have Marcus Smart on him all series long, and that's not gonna be an easy task for him unless he gets that man in foul trouble. Because the way I see Marcus Smart defending in that last series, I don't care if it was Reed Shepard. I don't care if it was Willis Reed. It was averaging almost 5 steals a game damn near. Like the kid was playing his ass off. So I don't think, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be an easy path per se. Even if it's a sweep, it's going to be a tough sweep for the OKC. Because,
I don't know,
playoffs are
man.
different than the regular
Austin
season.
Reeves plays mad scared against them. Turns the ball over like crazy. He can't keep up with them on defense. And then of course now we gotta remember these conference finals are every other day, so not a lot of rest. We'll play LeBron's age and everything, having to play every other day. That can kind of wear him as the series goes along. So
Right.
I
So
don't know.
that's that.
I'm not
So that
really
all that
optimistic
says
about
is
that
that
shit.
the Lakers way to steal one over in video is going to be curtains. That's it.
You would think it's the best chance to be tomorrow night. OKC's been off for a week. Lakers been off for a few days. They got more of a they'll have more of a rhythm going into the game. So that would be the ideal game to steal. Would be tomorrow night. So
Right. And as
we'll see
far
how
as
that goes.
tonight's game, it's first game in that series starting. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I do have San Antonio winning it, but in 7. I like Minnesota about it. That was my preseason favorites to make it to the finals. And being that Ant's gonna be back for the series somehow, I don't know how he's about to do this. It's quite impressive to see the man just will himself back into being into the series. Um, I think that's gonna give them a some added you know that they need. It was they won't have AO there and so um I got them in 7. I got like the whole nation.
I agree.
Cavaliers versus Detroit Pistons. I don't have the regular season records in front of me, but I believe those two teams split it this year. Really, who you got in both those series and who you got the spotlight for both series? Spotlight player.
Oh yeah, shout out to JB Biggie. He got an extension today. That's what's up,
Yep.
man. 61
Hmm.
team, best record in the East. Kags first team All NBA. Salute to Bickerstaff for getting that extension. I do have the Pistons winning that series. I think that they're going to be relieved now that they're not seeing a team in the second round as physical as the Magic were. That made it rough for
Hmm.
them. They're playing more of a
Hmm.
finesse team that isn't really that profound on the defensive side of the ball. So it's going to make it a lot easier, not just for Cade, but the other supporting guys to try to find a rhythm and try to help Cade out on the offensive department. So I got them winning. And for somebody who I think could be, I want to highlight in that series, I probably would go with Jalen Duren. It's got to be better, man. Like he had his first double double last night, in that game 7. So he was like really looking like a shell of himself. He was like a lot of people's pick to be most improved this season.
Hmm.
And he's probably gonna make it an All NBA team as well. So he's got to play like that in this series. So I'm putting the spotlight on Jalen Duren. And for the other series, we have wait, who's the other series again in the East? Oh yeah, sorry, they're playing right now. The Knicks and the Sixers. Man, that's crazy. I picked the Sixers in 6, but looking at the score of the game at halftime, I'm like, damn. I was just thinking because I'm thinking to myself, this kind of reminds me of like a couple of years ago. Because like when the Wolves beat the Nuggets, when the Nuggets were the defending champs, because that Nuggets team was the team. Sorry, that Wolves team was put together by the old Nuggets GM. That team was put together to dethrone the Nuggets, which they did, but then turned around and got smacked by the Mavs in 5. So I kind of had that same mentality. Whereas this Knicks team was built to beat the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are out of the playoffs now, so now they don't really have a team. I think that is like was specifically designed in mind to stop Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and them, which is why I went with the Knicks, the Sixers and 6. I thought Embiid would win his matchup with Towns and everything. Maxey is just a little bit too speedy for everybody else, but the Knicks do lack the depth. Sorry, the Sixers lack the depth that the Knicks do, so that will probably work in the Knicks' favor as well. But I did have the Sixers and 6. I said I recorded my podcast earlier and I said that, but hey, ain't looking good right now. Yeah.
They say a feel
Yeah.
as if Maxi and Paul George they were doing against the Celtics, they could take advantage of those opportunities. And the too crazy. The Sixers fans are crazy. So this is one of those all timers for the East Side, the East Coast, basketball in general. So I expect 6 or 7 because I.
Two top 5 media markets.
Oh yeah, and then don't forget a couple years ago they had a very big time all time series where they had a couple overtime games. So I expect it to be in this game
Embiid was
one is
cooking.
is showing. Yeah, man. MB cooks New York every chance he can get. That's why I always had the rumor in my head like he's gonna be a Nick
Yeah.
one day because they would love center have pretty iconic centers over there, but Knicks and 6 nonetheless, because I think, like I said, they were my preseason favorites to win the championship or go to the championship, I should say. Um, they won the in season in that time of the well, in my opinion. Knows his role in that Mike Brown offense, And Brunson, I don't know. I feel like everybody's not really talking about it. I think he's playing better now than he played last year. Um, I think he's turning the ball over less.
That's fair.
He's still fundamentals are better. He obviously been teammates, but he's not playing he's not playing hero ball by himself. He knows to pick his spots. His footwork is insane. Of course, like guys, they just know how to play with him. Nobody's got an ego on that team, and that's what I like about the Knicks sometimes. Like Mikal averaged 19, but he knows his role. You know what I'm saying? He had a bad series against Atlanta, and he had to step up, and they trusted him. So I think they could figure it out and get over in Eastern Conference Finals. But as far as the series against Detroit, I got the Cavs. I think Detroit is just not, they can't shoot, man. If they're going to win that series, if some averages 20 a game or Tobias Harris really does average 20 a game himself. Cavs are not Orlando. They have shooters, man. The only themselves, meaning their starting five is probably the best starting five outside of New York. May actually have starting five than New York. You know what I'm saying? Only because we're talking about
Yeah.
Jared Allen. Mobley is a all NBA type player, Hall of Famer at James Harden, a fringe famer. And then they could plug forward, but it doesn't really matter because they flow starting five. You know what I'm saying? And then their bench is pretty good. But it really comes down to them. They don't be the Cavaliers that, pissed away against Toronto. Are they going to be the Cavaliers that took care of business and took a 2-0 lead in that last series they were in? They got to figure it out. And, people are going to be on Donovan Mitchell and James Harden for the fact that they don't the greatest resume in the playoffs. They're going to be all eyes on them. We'll see if the lights are too bright for them. And I don't veterans now. They've been doing this. Detroit, this is their first stab at an opportunity to go to the Eastern Conference Finals in over 20 years. So there should be no reason for them to not take advantage of this opportunity because Detroit had to fight even harder than they had to stay. They just had to keep up with Toronto because Toronto was just shooting the lights out at one point for a couple games in that series. Uh, so I got the Cavs in 7. I'm gonna take the Cavs in 7, even though I talked all that talk. I think this is still gonna be a series that could go the distance. Key to this series will be Donovan Mitchell. He cannot,
Yeah, it is.
cannot, he cannot fail this time. Mm-mm.
You got more faith in James Harden than me. I don't trust him.
I
And
mean,
against an elite defense, yeah,
I
he's not gonna come up big against Game
hear
7. I
you,
don't trust
bro.
him.
Like I try to believe that he doesn't have this weird on his back for a reason. He still does crazy. I don't know. He has reason to be pressing. You got another guy who could as much as you can. You got a double big three above the rim, and they could do a lot around the paint. Don't have to do a lot on defense because nobody wants to go in the paint against that team. When those guys like Mobley and Jared Allen are in there, there should be no reason to press. You know what I'm saying? You're there for, if anything, you're there for leadership and what you can do, facilitate them. And if you can shoot that three, that's a plus. You feel? I know I might be trusting him in this spot, but every before before Tatum came back, everybody had the Cavs as the favorite out the East. So let's see if they really live up. Even though we'll see, man. Like I'm interested to see how that series goes or anything like that. So, but yeah, my key to the series is Donovan Mitchell. He needs to step up and be the most valuable player for that team, and that's no hands down.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think Donovan should be the number one guy to rely on as opposed to James Harden. At least Harden at this point of his career at this stage. So
Did you have the playoffs so far or the postseason that you've noticed? Meaning season moves, any moves you noticed or anything in particular you want to talk about or you saw that pique your interest?
hey, well, not really because there's some little chatter going on. We've seen the coach get fired for the Mavs, not the Mavs,
Jake
the Magic.
Mosley.
Mosley, he got let go. Yeah, that was probably like the writing was on the wall when they lost that Game 6, being up 24. That's crazy. That was probably like the nail in the coffin right there because there was no way they were going to come back and win that Game 7. Yeah, nothing else really that I see so far. Just that it kinda, again, the sucks though that we have all these injuries going on, like these soft tissue injuries, man. I think the season's too long, but league's not gonna change because they got all this money tied up in Amazon, Peacock, NBC, Disney, ESPN. So many like I hate the fact that like not that the series are being a lot of series are being like the outcome is based off injuries, but the injuries are playing a significant plot in these series, which I hate. You know, obviously Tatum couldn't play in Game 7. You got Sumo got with a cap injury. I think he's under questionable now too. That's just crazy. DiVincenzo towards ACL, and then Achilles. He dubs out with a hamstring injury. It's like, come on, man. I'm not used to this. It wasn't like this back in like '90s like that or like the 2000s. But games just play a lot differently, and I don't think they should be playing 82 games like going through a season, like a hard season like that with this style of play with everybody spread out offense. You got to chase people out the 3-point line. Got to cut a lot crazy pace up and down the court. A little too much. That's just my little rant there.
And um,
Yeah, that's crazy. So I was at a bar. They had the game on though on Prime. At a bar next to my crib, they had the game 3, Lakers Cavs. That's not Lakers Cavs, Lakers Rockets. Those on Amazon Prime. Like, oh wow, they actually got the game here. But yeah, here a lot of establishments don't have like the games anymore. Even like hotels. I think that these establishments need to get caught up to speed with the streaming era. Like it's here. It's kind of been here for a while, but now I think it's like really like full throttle and everything. So they got to get caught up in it, man. It's the new wave. It does suck for the consumer too to spend all this money to watch Amazon like games. Like for example, like I have a Fire Stick, right? But I have my son's Amazon account, so I've always had it. I never pay for Amazon Prime. I'm not gonna pay for it now. So I have to watch the games on my computer because I don't want to find out on my Fire Stick, log in with her password. I don't even know her password. It's just to save my computer. So I have to watch all the games on my computer when it's on Prime. I'd be sick. Like,
yeah,
oh man,
nah, I
this is kind
feel
of
you.
trash. I want to watch it on my
But
TV. Like
I do.
I hate when it's when I go on my phone to see the game's on this day, and I see all Prime videos. Like, damn, I gotta watch it on my computer. That sucks.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, I agree with you. I mean,
I hate it.
establishments definitely gotta get with the time, but you gotta also understand some have like business deals with like DirecTV, Xfinity, or whatever, so they pay if that works in their favor. But those same companies like Xfinity, Verizon, DirecTV, whatever, they need to give an opportunity for these other established the streaming apps.
Yeah, I mean, so I remember when the NFL made the deal with YouTube TV for Sunday Ticket. I think but they made it as for what I read, they made it exception for like establishments like bars and everything that they don't need like YouTube TV. They can have like a dish or something like that to get all like the Sunday Ticket. That's what I remember hearing. I don't know if it's still true right now. Yes, man, with times are changing, man. It used to be so. It's just it's so easy. It used to be so easy to watch games.
And
Can you imagine somebody who's like 55 plus? That must suck.
oh they
See, this is our generation. Like, yeah,
they see if they can get the newspaper to see what happened the game before, and they hate that too because the newspaper's on the internet too. So it's like no matter what, like you said, it sucks. We have to get with it or be without it, and it's not the best way for things to go. I mean, it is what it is. This is what in order for us to get these games, some big bills have to be paid for that shit to happen. But nonetheless, I'm gonna let you go so we can enjoy the rest of this. Let's see if. Oh, never mind. I ain't gonna even say they're gonna come back. They're down 27. Um, let's go watch that San Antonio game. It's tied at 6-6. But I'm gonna let you go, dog. So good luck to your
words
Lakers.
go.
Good luck to your Lakers, man.
Yeah, we gonna need it, guy. Appreciate you.